Opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes, to renting versus selling, and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live. 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi everyone, welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Every week we talk about something that will help you make a little money, save a little money, or maybe just help you navigate the crazy world that we live in. Today we're going to talk about insurance. We're here with Brandon Felder from Goosehead Insurance, and we're going to talk about a couple of things today. Number one, we're going to talk about flood insurance. Is it transferable, and how does that work? And when would be a good time to transfer it? And we're going to talk about citizens. Are they raising their rates or are they decreasing their rates? So let's start out with flood insurance, and welcome, Brandon. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
So since we've last been here, you've had a baby. Not you personally, but your wife has.
I didn't have a baby. My wife had a baby.
Yes.
Little 8-pound, 6-ounce little girl.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's always nice to
spend
bring
more
another
money on insurance.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you had insurance to have that baby.
Yeah.
So, funny, today I was actually at a photo shoot today. Clearly they didn't want to photo shoot me. And all of a sudden the photographer says to me, "Did you know that flood insurance is transferable?" And I said, "I actually do know that flood insurance is transferable." Now for our audience, what does that mean? I could tell you that I found this out about over 10 years ago when I was selling a property down in Young Circle. And the elevation was not very good.
Yeah.
And they came back and said that the insurance was going to be $18,000 for flood.
Yep. It's not cheap.
No. And so the insurance agent came back to me and said, now the people were the original owners from 1950.
Wow.
Yeah, and they said, do they have flood insurance? So of course, all this time, these people were not carrying flood insurance. So in this particular instance, the buyer had to get the $18,000 flood insurance to close. And that was a learning experience for me at that point in time. I believe that a lot of agents do not know that flood insurance is transferable.
Well, I'm going to give you a little quiz here.
Okay, give me a little quiz.
What's my favorite thing to say on the radio show?
What's your favorite thing to say on the radio show?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends on the carrier.
Oh, yes.
It depends on the carrier. So here's the deal with flood insurance.
That's your favorite thing to say all the time, not just a show.
No, you call me.
I'm like thinking thinking the show.
So it's good that it's that way, because a lot of people superimpose what they go through with insurance and think this is how it is for everybody. So they'll hear, oh, my rate went up or my rate went down or this or that. That means, this is how it looks in the whole industry. It's not how it is. It's not like eggs going up across the board for everyone right now. It's depends on the carrier. So with flood insurance, there's two main types of flood policies. One is a private flood insurance policy through a private company, and then two is a federally backed FEMA flood insurance policy through what we call the National Flood Insurance Program.
Okay.
So just to pause there, we got to keep an eye on this. I don't know what's going to happen with FEMA. Since the election, people have asked me about that. We'll see. I don't know how that's going to affect the National Flood Insurance Program, but we'll probably know in the coming weeks and months.
What's going? Wait. What's going on with the National Flood?
They're just all the government entities are being looked into. FEMA, Department of Education.
Yeah, I mean, they also said they were looking into
USAID,
Section 8.
So I just say that to say I don't know. We'll see what happens. But with a private flood, that's not transferable. Not that I've been made aware of.
Okay.
The national flood insurance policies, The policy itself is not transferable. So if
Okay.
you buy my house and I have an NFIP, National Flood Insurance Policy, you're not going to get my policy. Now you can get a copy of my policy and take that and you can transfer some of the discounts on the policy. And the discounts are kind of like homestead exemption. You know, if you live there for a long time, you're going to get these discounts that stay with you. So the best example I like to give is I had a property in Marco Island.
Okay.
And Marco Island is very expensive for flood. I quoted one today, it was $7,600. And I had a guy that the flood, the prior flood was $1,800 a year.
Okay.
Well, he needed to get new flood insurance through the National Flood Insurance Program, same coverages. It was like $12,000. So we're looking at like an $8,000 discount that was transferable. In places like Marco Island, Young Circle, it's really, really important that to know things like this. The realtors in those areas should definitely know this
Right.
because it's such a huge discount.
So what happens is wouldn't the insurance agent though that's doing the policy say, hey, can you just check to see if there's a prior policy? Wouldn't you think?
If the insurance agent knows about it.
Why would they not though? Like
I
to
mean,
me, it
sometimes
just
it's
sounds
just
like
like-
this is all just. I guess it's like having an agent that doesn't know what they're doing, right?
It could be a new guy in the industry. He just doesn't know.
Right.
I'm doing a lot of trainings and things for realtors. If you're a realtor listening and you want to do a training, let's do it.
Okay.
Like that's one of my favorite things to do because having knowledge is extremely important.
It is.
And so that just knowing that, I ask all the time realtors, hey, does your seller have a flood policy? I love doing this because it makes me look like a superhero when I ask a listing agent, hey, you got this. I just saved one in Miami like this. And it brought the premium way down. I think it was like $3,800 and I got it with the seller's flood down to like $1,500. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money, $200 a month.
It is a lot of money, and especially with the way things are costing these days. So I think the first question that everybody should be asking is, do I have flood? You know, and is
Yeah.
it transferable? Some people don't even know what they have. So,
Yeah.
so you said that these private policies, they are not transferable. Why would somebody go for a private policy versus going for national flood policy?
Really good question. And just so you know, if prices were the same on the national policy or the private market, I would go with the private market all day long.
Why?
Because the private market policy has way better coverage.
Give us an example.
So for example, on a national flood insurance policy, you have two coverages. Straight linear coverage. You have coverage for the building that maxes at $250,000 and coverage for contents,
Okay.
which maxes at $100,000.
Okay.
That's all you're getting. There's no other thing that you can buy. Other than like coverage for other structures, which is normal. On the private policies, you can get higher than those limits, $250,000 and $100,000 in contents. You can get coverage for things like pool repair and refill.
On the flood?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Pool repair and refill.
So like sometimes what happens is, and you can look this up, it's
Okay.
called pool pop-up.
I've heard that from letting
Yeah.
too much, like letting a lot of the water out.
Yeah, and then the weight of the pool shoots up.
And that's part of your
and-
flood insurance?
Well,
Interesting.
it-
Listen, that's
if flooding causes damage to the pool somehow, or water gets up under it and then pushes it up, who knows? But there's other things like temporary living expenses. If you
yeah.
can't
I
live-
know for sure the national one does not have that because of what happened in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, so you can get temporary living expenses. You can get replacement cost on your contents. So to make sure they're going to pay out for new stuff for you, not a depreciated or garage sale value of those things. There's a lot of ancillary coverages that you can get that are way better. Second to that, you go to the federal government for anything, and it takes a long time.
Right.
You try to make a claim through FEMA, good luck.
So are
It's
these
gonna be
people
way
from
f-
like 2
it's
years
gonna-
ago still waiting for claims?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They should be paid out. Now, if they're suing, then they could be waiting, but you're going to have a way easier time dealing with a private company than all the red tape that you're going to get through an NFIP policy.
Crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
So if prices are the same, I'm going to tell you go with that. Now, on the NFIP policy, there's only a few deductibles for the home coverage. There's more for the contents coverage. But on a private policy, usually there's a lot more options for deductibles as well.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Citizens. Have they decreased their rates? Have they increased their rates? So stay tuned, and you'll find out when we come back from commercial.
At JK Closing Attorneys, we do all of the same things that a title company does, but with the benefits of being a law office. We can help with residential real estate, short sales, commercial real estate, refinances, 1031 exchanges, and FRIPTA withholding.
Contact JK Closing Attorneys today at 954-332-3111. Again, that is 954-332-3111.
Whether you're buying, selling, refinancing, or building your dream home, you have a lot riding on your loan specialist. Max Fish, a top 1% mortgage loan officer in the nation, will give you a same-day qualifying quote. Max Fish is committed to providing his customers with mortgage services that exceed their expectations. Ensuring that you make the right choice for you and your family is his ultimate goal. Contact Max Fish today at 954-729-6933 or max.fisch@nwmcorp.net.
You have been watching Making Money with Laura. For more information, contact Laura Sanders at 954-650-0827 or visit her website at theloracell.com. And now back to the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Today, we've been talking about flood insurance and is it transferable? We found out it is. We're also talking about Citizens, and are they raising their rates again, or are they decreasing their rates again? So, Brandon?
So Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, came out with in some press conferences and things and said that Citizens is going to be lowering their rates. And everything I've read about it has said that Citizens would be lowering, 5.6% down. But all it really states is that it will be in 2025. So people say, hey, can I get a lower rate? What can we do here? Now, there's a couple things to note with this.
Okay.
One, they're lowering the rates. That's great. And it's been, from what I've heard, a little more geared towards South Florida. Is it going to be the whole state? Is it going to be South Florida, Tri-County? I'm not really sure. But we'll see. Now, hopefully on renewal rates, it's also lowering. But I've kind of seen as I watch renewals come through that it looks like some of the larger increases we've seen in the past couple years, 25, 35, 50%, it's calming down, which hopefully helps some people sleep a little bit better at night.
It's still pretty expensive,
It
though.
is.
I mean, so with this decrease, right? We all know that now Citizens is now going to require you to have flood insurance if you're in a flood zone, correct?
No.
No matter what, flood zone or not.
Correct. So the way it works is this. If you're in a flood zone, they're already requiring that you have flood insurance. If you have hurricane coverage on your policy, which most people do. This does not include condo policies, what we call an HO6.
Okay.
Now, if you're in a townhouse, you might have an HO3 or an HO6. It depends on the association.
Okay, so if you're an HO6.
If you're an HO6, this doesn't apply to you. If you're an HO3, so single family, sometimes townhouses, villas,
right.
they...
Fee simple.
No.
Oh, it's
Not-
whether
it's
or
whatever
not
the
they...
association's
Okay.
coverage is. It's a big misconception. So what happens is they're requiring, depending on your coverage A amount, which is the cost to rebuild the structure, they are requiring flood insurance if you're not in the flood zone. So what that looks like right now is anybody $500,000 and above in coverage A, they have to get flood insurance.
Okay.
That just started January 1. Next year, January 1, it drops down to 400,000.
Oh.
The year after, it's everybody. So it's like a slow rollout.
So when you go to renew, they're going to want you to
I have a lot of
flood.
clients that are getting emails from my team saying, "Hey, Citizens is not going to renew you unless you show proof of flood insurance."
Interesting, interesting. So what about, like, for instance, some people have Citizens and they were told that because Citizens was within 10%
20,
lower,
yeah.
20% lower than, let's say, like, for instance, I know Slide was one that was
Yeah.
taking over a bunch of, so when people say, oh, okay, I've never heard of Slide before,
Yeah.
but here we are hearing about Slide, and
Yeah.
I find that I get a lot of people who go, oh, I got some company, its name was Slide, and they
Yeah,
took me
yeah,
over.
yeah.
So is that still in effect?
Yeah. So what's funny is I was listening to the news this morning, and they were talking about the egg thing. It's like a big thing right now.
Egg thing.
Eggs are really expensive because of bird flu or whatever. And they said there was this farm that they had to depopulate all these chickens because the chickens have bird flu.
Oh, okay.
Well, the reason I'm bringing this up
'Cause you're
like,
depopulation, yeah.
because Citizens calls it depopulation.
You're thinking
And
they're
it's
going to
like
kill a bunch
such
of chickens.
It's such a bad name. Like, people read depopulation. What, are they going to kill me? Like, no, they're not.
No, they're just going to knock you out of here.
Yeah. So what happens is the Citizens they're going to go shop for you with these private market companies that they have agreements with because they're state backed, and they're going to say, hey, we got a quote from Slide or American Integrity or Manatee or whoever, and say, hey, this is next year's estimated renewal premium.
Okay.
Citizens' estimated renewal premium for next year is this.
And they're doing this, like, way in advance. Like,
11 months in advance.
yeah, because I'm seeing it.
Yeah, sometimes it's shorter, sometimes longer, and they're saying if these companies are less than 20% greater than Citizens' estimated renewal premium, you have to go to them. You don't have a choice. So if they're more than 20%, then you can elect to stay with Citizens. This happened to me personally. Now I elected to stay with Citizens, and then they shopped it more, and then I had to switch, which was okay. Now,
Wait, I'm confused. So how did you get to stay?
because the options they gave me were greater than 20%.
Oh,
So I
I thought
elected
that they
to
already
stay.
knew, like, that they could get it for less,
No,
like that
they
20%.
shop it around, and they shopped it and they couldn't. And so they still told me, hey, here's your options. I said, I'm going to stick with Citizens. And then they said,
Why
they
do
shopped
some
it some
people
more.
have such a bad taste in their mouth about Citizens, and they think, I never understood that, because I'm like, I would think that anything backed by the government, it's like the government's they're gonna print money to take care of it no matter what. So
It depends on who's in office.
Right.
And,
But-
you know, with Citizens, there's so much red tape that, like, when you make a claim with Citizens, I mean, just call them. You call Citizens or you call a private insurance company, I mean, who's going to make sure they have less wait times for phone lines? You know, like, they're state backed, they're not for profit, but they're not incentivized either. Because when you're for profit, you're incentivized. You want to make more money, you know?
right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why. In addition to that, there's a clause in Citizens policies that state that in the event of a major disaster, Citizens can come out and assess all the policies midterm, and say you have to pay, you know, this much more because we
Oh,
had a
really?
bad hurricane. Yeah, the
Is that
wording-
happening right now?
No, it's not happening because we haven't had any major disasters.
I didn't know that was in there. That's
Yeah,
I just
it
learned.
u-
I learn something new every
It
day.
used to say 45%. They took the percentage out, but and so on these depopulation letters, they say that on the letter, like, we could assess you, because they don't want the policies, they want them off, and so that hasn't happened, and I don't know how long, but it could happen, and that will freak some people out.
Well, we have about another 7 minutes, and I wanted to bring up a topic because typically I tell people, before you go making insurance claims, talk to your insurance agent and not let them call the actual insurance company to run it by them before making that decision. Because once the call is put into your insurance agent, not you, your insurance agent, the actual company, let's say Citizens or Slide, now it is a claim whether it gets approved or not. So let's talk about when you do make this call and you've made this decision, to know that you have your ducks in a row, not the ones that are being depopulated, but your ducks in a row. And I say this because I just had a customer who had a flood in their property. And it happened on the 30th, and they did not call till the 10th.
No.
And told them it happened on the 30th. And I think we need to be very clear on how people need to have their dates. And know that they can then create themselves to be uninsurable for the episode, whatever the situation at hand.
So here's the deal. There are clauses in some policies that talk about if there's damage to your property, you need to let us know.
Within like 24 hours.
Now,
10 minutes.
whether you do that or not, the person, that's up to the person. What I will tell you is that, one, you always want to make sure you understand your deductibles. There's this kind of debate in the insurance world. It's not huge, and it's between this media guy, and I think he's in West Palm, and some of the higher ups at Citizens and in the industry. And this guy has stated that Citizens purposefully doesn't want to pay out claims.
I don't think that's true, but okay.
And the response from the other side has been, well, a lot of times we don't pay out claims because things are underneath the deductible.
That makes sense.
So knowing your deductible is important.
But you're hurting yourself by making these claims when you don't understand your policy.
Well, the insurance company's response to that would say, still make the claim, we won't pay it out, but your deductible is a yearly deductible. So if something else happens, then you're going to shoot above that deductible, and we'll pay you out.
But is that good?
Well, from a sales...
That's interesting to know.
Yeah, from a sales side, most carriers, they don't want to see claim activity on a policy.
Yeah, I think it's bad.
And they think it's bad because you're more likely to make a claim and then more likely to sue or use a public adjuster, and it costs them more money. That's why insurance is so high, in my opinion. But what we see here is, in my opinion, you got to be careful when making a claim. Is it really worth it?
Right. And I think that's something that listen, there's a ton of people you can go to get insurance, but are they available? Some people, they don't care. They're not there for you. You know what I mean?
They aren't, which is why you need my phone number.
So give them your phone number so that if in fact that they do have a claim or they need it to, they should already just switch over to you. But what's a good number to reach you if somebody's looking to get the best policy? And he does write very good policies. Not everybody does.
We all write the same policies. It's just who's going to take the time to go over the policy with you and make sure that what's in the policy you and your family are comfortable with.
Right.
Because it's all.
But why is it that some people's policies are so expensive?
Well, there's a lot of factors. There's hundreds of rating factors. But most insurance agents, they want to sell you the highest number because it's a commission-based industry. So if I could sell you a policy with more coverage that causes the price to go up, well, then I'm going to make more. Laura, that's just not how I run my business.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, okay, if you want contents coverage, here's what that means. There's two different types of contents coverage. Here's what those means. What's best for you and your family? Are you more price conscious or are you more coverage conscious?
Yeah, that's good. And that's a good thing that you go over this directly with them.
And I'm not the fastest to turn around quotes. I'm really not. It's because I'm always on the phone with people. And when I take your phone call, you have me. I don't hang up and say, hey, let me call you back.
Right.
You have me. So my cell phone number is 954-326-9842. Again, that's 954-326-9842.
And if you're looking for the best realtor out there,
The best.
I mean, I think I'm pretty good. I have no life, so
I think that
those are
you
the best
work-
kind.
I think that you work harder than the majority of realtors I work with.
I would say that
And most
I think,
of my business come from realtors.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make sure that I have all the information for my clients. It's important to me, and I want to make sure that I'm getting them the best deal, whether
Yeah.
they're my buyers, they're my sellers. I really do try to provide value in any which way that I can. So
You know more than most, that's for sure.
I could be a little dangerous, just a little bit.
Good.
So if you are looking for a top agent, give me a call, Laura Sanders, at 954-650-0827. And you can always check me out on my web page at laurasell.com. And like always, thank you so much for listening to Making Money with Laura Sanders. And I want to thank Brandon for being on today. And again, if you need insurance, give Brandon a call. If you need real estate help, give me a call. Thanks, and make it a great day.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing you next week.